Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my podcast channel. It is so good to be here today. I think the last time I made a video, I was unboxing a beauty mask, and I just used the opportunity I had then to just chit chat a little. And it's been like 5 days since that happened, almost a week. So it's so good to be here this morning. It's such a pleasure to be talking about something that I think it's so dear to my heart, something I've been wanting to, you know, talk about with somebody, but then it's just been in my head. So I thought, why not I just talk about it on my podcast channel, share it with you guys, whoever is listening to me, whoever resonates with my knowing and my content. So yeah, this is me talking about traveling in the way you have probably never heard of before, most likely never heard of this, this type of knowledge, I would say. Yeah, I am Jindo. So welcome back to Conversations with Jindo. Here I talk about different things. I talk about anything. I talk about anything that concerns living, blissful living, whether in duality or oneness. What I mean by duality is blissful living in the sense of you experiencing your life in probably what you deem as a negative effect on you, or the positive effect, the sides you like and the sides you resist, you don't like, the sides you want to change and the sides you want to continue with, which is pleasurable, but the displeasure and pleasant experiences. That's what I mean by duality. Here you come, you suspend reasoning, you suspend disbeliefs, you suspend everything that you think you know. I think I know, because in truth we don't know anything. We cannot define anything in truth. So here we come, we suspend everything we think we know, and we just see things simply the way they are. We see things the way they are, not the way we think they should be, or the way we think we know we define them or we limit them to be. Because in this space, Conversations with Jindo is simply going beyond reasoning, beyond definition. When you go beyond definition, you uncover so many meanings of things. Just one simple thing, one small thing goes into having meanings beyond bounds. It's boundless. Yeah, that's enough for the introduction of this channel, because I think I do that a lot. That's a whole different video, but that's okay. It's so good to be talking about traveling today. Last week, this was my experience. This is what actually birthed this podcast today. Last week, I was scrolling through my Instagram and I saw this quote. I saw this statement rather. It says, I want to live a life where I don't have to vacation. I hope I'm quoting this right. Excuse me. I want to live a life where I don't have to go on vacation from. And I think that sat deep with me, because I'm like, oh wait, that is the life I live. That is simply the life I live, a life of pure bliss, of vacation, a life that every single moment is just joyous. Every single moment is just beautiful. It's something new to experience. It's something new to grow from. It's something so new, so awesome to actually be like, wait, where? This is an expansion. This is an upgrade. This is the kind of life I live, where I literally don't need to vacation from. I might want to travel. We might want to travel. Traveling is the best thing I love. Traveling is a dream to me. Traveling is like experiencing an upgrade. To me, traveling is life, but I want to live a life where I don't have to go somewhere that I think is better than where I am right now. I don't want to live a life where I think I have to run away from my home that is supposed to be a center for my growth and perfect, fuller expression. I don't want to run from my home because I think somewhere else is greener or is better for me to unwind or vacation in. I want to vacation in my home. I want to vacation anywhere I am. I want to live a life where I am in the moment I am in it is a healing center, is a sanctuary for growth, for expansion, for experience of bliss and so much more. That is the life I am living. When I saw that quote, I'm like, yes, this is it. Because for so long, I've been thinking to myself, I experience this blissful living. My life is just full of momentary expansion, momentary upgrades. Like, I love every part of my life because every moment I feel like it's a growing process. Not growing in the sense that it is unpleasant. Sometimes there's a bit of resistance because there is so much moment I want to relieve, unforgettable moments that with people, with things, I want to relieve that with myself. But at the end of the day, I realized to myself, life is impermanent. Every moment is impermanent. It comes and fades into nothingness. So why not just enjoy it while it lasts and let it go and let the new moment unfold, and you keep enjoying it. It keeps getting better and better. Always. This is the life I live, where my home is a sanctuary for comfort, for unwinding, for upgrades, for pictures. It's picturesque. I can do whatever I want to do anywhere in the world, in my house right now. Anything I want to enjoy, I can enjoy it in my home right now. Not saying that with a limiting belief that traveling is not good for you. Of course, traveling is a beautiful experience. Just see traveling as that experience where you have to breathe in a new place. You have to experience a new surrounding, a new type of culture. You have to experience something beautiful in a different way. Where you have to experience the same life in a different way. That's traveling to me. You don't have to bug yourself about the fact that you're not traveling around the world yet, or you have to travel for something to change, or you have to travel for you to grow. No, I don't think that's a perfect definition of what we should call traveling, because so many people grow wherever they are. So many people fulfill their dreams right where they are in their homes, where they are born in, and they never even experience another part of the world different from where they were born, and they still grow, they still enjoy life, they still achieve their dreams, they still live happily ever after. I hear these things where people say life is a book. If you don't travel, then you're just living a page of life. And in my thoughts, not reasoning now, because we talk beyond reasoning here. Okay. In my thoughts, I feel like that is not true. It can't be true. Life is neither a book. Life is a game. Life is a play. Life is an enjoyment of something that is formless. So it cannot be defined. You can't put life in such a small sphere and call it a book. You can't define it. It's something that is ongoing and impermanent. This moment you're living something, the other moment you're living something entirely different from what you ever knew. You can't define it and you can't grip on it. So life is beyond what a book is. Life is a play, it's an ongoing play. Life is an experience. So you don't have to be somewhere, you don't have to travel somewhere to enjoy life. You travel when life wants you to travel. You travel when time allows you to travel. This is beyond reasoning now. This is beyond just what it seems like it is common. It's not common. What I'm saying is what you need to know about traveling in a sense. Traveling is not for experiencing a greener pasture. No. It shouldn't be for experiencing a greener pasture. It shouldn't be for running away from where you are, running away from home because you want to vacation. It shouldn't be running away from the experience you're currently having because you think once you experience that part of the world, once you have this particular experience, your life changes, you become happier. No, because nothing changes. Wherever you travel at, you feel the same. Wherever you travel at, if you travel with sadness, with desperation, in fact, it heightens the emotion and it makes everything you feel 10 times more. So there is no greener pasture. It is all happening right now in your favor. Wherever you are is where you're meant to be. Whatever space you're in, you're supposed to enjoy that space. Make it help you grow. Make it help you unwind. Make it help you vacation. Vacation in your home. This puts so many people. This is saying that life is a book, and if you don't travel, you don't get to experience the next pages of that book, which is not true because it puts so many people in such a desperate need to travel by all means when they are not even meant to travel, when you are not meant to live that moment where you are, when it is not even time for you to leave. You walk your way, like you go out of your way to want to travel wherever it is you want to travel at, and it is not the right time. It's probably not the right place for you to travel for your own good, for your own growth, for your expansion, and for the experience that traveling gives. See traveling as this, as something that needs to change you, something that needs to perfect something in you, a knowledge, a level, an experience. That's what traveling is. Traveling is not a greener pasture. No, because that place you're traveling at is, when you talk about reality, in true terms, is the same thing as where you are right now. It's not different. You're probably even better comfortable where you are than where you're running to for greener pasture. You know, I will share this experience with you just for the sake of this video. And yeah, this happened last year, 2024. Before last year, in 2023, at about November, I fell into a great depression from my job. Actually, my job caused it. How it happened was, during that year, even before that year, I got my job in 2022. Before that, yeah, in 2022, when I got my job, the situations that brought about my job wasn't a healthy one for me. Healthy in the sense that it happened out of the blue, and out of the fact that I was looking for, you know, I was looking for a space of solace. What I mean is, I was looking for a space for comfort. I was looking for a space to, to help me pull myself together. I was looking for a space to actually experience, well, I didn't have a home in 2022, so I was particularly homeless. So the situation that brought about my job was trying to find a home for myself, because I thought if I got a job, I was going to be able to afford an apartment for myself. And if I got the job I was in, then I was going to be able to afford a job for myself. That was the situation that brought about my job, because I was homeless. And for the fear of being homeless, I went into this situation. I had to travel for school. I got into debt because I needed a student loan for this school and all of that. I went to this place and then I got a home because I stayed in a facility. I traveled for school, so everything was provided for me because I paid for it through a loan I got, and it was in millions, okay, naira. And then while I was there, at the end of the year, when the school was supposed to close, I got my job, my first job with Access Bank. They came for me. I did their interview, aced it, was, the best. I did everything the job required me to do, did the interview, and they were so happy to welcome me to Access Bank. But I felt this hunch within me. I delayed the offer. They gave me an offer later, and the pay was good. It was attractive, coming from somebody that hasn't had any banking experience before and probably hasn't had any 9-to-5 job experience before. The pay was really nice and worth it, but I didn't like it. Something about it didn't feel right to me. I'm like, wait, what is going on? From wanting a home to getting a job I wouldn't want to go in. I have never worked 9-to-5. I only did, network marketing business in the past. So I was only used to leading and doing stuff for myself and all of that jazz. I wasn't used to clocking in every single day and doing the same thing over and over again, which of course felt like not life to me. So I didn't like the situation, but again I thought to myself, if I don't take this job, I would go back to Lagos homeless again, the same thing I was running from now back to experiencing even worse, because a year has just passed me and here I am again. Not up to a year, but 8 months, 10 months has just passed me with me fearing to go homeless, and yet I am almost homeless. I thought about that, and I delayed the offer letter still further because it still didn't sit right with me. I'm like, yeah, even though I get the job, it will still take time for me to get the pay and then to pay an apartment where I want to live, in the environment I want to stay, of course, which I never compromise with. I never compromise with the environment. I make sure that everywhere I stay, regardless, it inspires me to grow in a way. So my colleagues at that time met me and gave their suggestions as advice and said, just take the job. You never can tell. Just take it until you get what you want. You can just manage it for now. To me, I don't like the term manage. I've never liked the term having to manage something. I want to be in something that I love and something that I have passion for, because I know with passion for me is everything. Because with passion, I can do this thing even in my sleep without having to worry about it. But right now, I don't have money. I don't have a place. What do I do? As a spiritual person, I would have gone with this very unusual notion. If you want to know, just comment down below what my unusual notion for living is. It's a bit outside the norm, but comment if you want to know and I'll talk about it. So my colleagues told me, and I'm like, okay, let me just take this, manage it for a while. At the back of my mind, I'm like, see, anything that you have to manage is something that's gonna delay you for a long time. Just know that at the back of your mind, because if you have to settle with something, that thing is going to take so much of your time that you worry about leaving it, because you're so comfortable with it now that you are still going to always manage with it, just to have it as a backbone, whatever. So I took this job, started my job, and I have to go back to Lagos now because my time in the facility with the school was over. So I have to go back to Lagos and start doing things for myself, my new job, fresh out of school and into my new job, blah blah blah. I was only 23 and a tech banker, blah blah blah. I'm a techie, I do this, I'm a software engineer, all those titles we give ourselves with a new career and all of that. I started boasting about it, but this job came with so much that I couldn't even afford. My job was requiring me to have 2 guarantors that were managing directors in different banks. I have friends. I have made friends over the years doing network marketing, traveling, through northern Nigeria and all of that. I've made so many wealthy friends, but they are not as close as, standing as guarantors for me. And they are not as close as connecting me to people they are close to that will stand as guarantors for me, that were managing directors of different banks. So that was a little too difficult for me. I didn't know it was even worse difficult for me. I thought it was just okay, something I can do. I have friends, I have, empowering friends that could stand for me, until I started contacting my friends and they all backed off. They were like, no, we're not gonna help you, blah blah blah, all of that. I'm like, wow, this is even more serious than I thought. I contacted my then boyfriend, who was a dean of the University of Jos, and he was like, Jindo, what you're asking is very difficult. My boyfriend, he's older. He was about 57 at the time. He was like, I wouldn't even guarantee my own son if my son was asking me to, because this is a very difficult situation, and understanding that he is a lawyer, I'm like, oh man, this man is so critical. He was like, I wouldn't guarantee my own son for this job because it's a banking job. If you manage to do something to fault, to fail within 2 years of you being in the bank, because a 2-year guarantee of you being in the bank, these people that are guaranteeing you are gonna pay for it because they are your guardian. They are like your supporters. They are like your guarantors. It's just what guarantor is, of course. So these people that are gonna stand as guarantors for you are gonna pay your fails. And who wants to do that? Who wants to take up someone else's, faults with a bank? You're paying millions in return. He refused, and that was when I knew that this was difficult, because all my friends now refused. I contacted a friend of mine that is a managing director with the UBA bank, and he's not just a managing director with the bank. Now he has traveled outside the country with the bank, and he's living outside the country, handling some part of this particular bank somewhere else outside the country. That means he's in a big position to actually even help me and to even connect me to somebody that was going to do that. He promised me, but then when he came back to Nigeria to actually do this for me on the month he said he was going to do this for me, things changed. He was like, come to think of it, I've known you for a long time now. We've been friends. We've traveled together before, but this is not something I can do for you. I am a managing director of this bank, and I know what can happen when somebody fails their guarantors. Everything changed. I became sad. Nothing was working, and mind you, without these guarantors standing up for me, I am an employee with the bank, but I am not getting paid. I cannot be paid until I get guarantors, 2 of them. And then all the people I know refuse to help me because, in their words, they don't know me too close to do that for me. They don't know what might happen in the next 2 years, in the next few months. They know me as close as knowing that I am harmless, but they don't know me as much as knowing that when something goes sideways and times heat and desperation sets in, what might come of me, they have no idea, because human beings change, so you can never predict anything. So he didn't do it, and that was how that ended, and that relationship faded into thin air, because at that point anybody that wasn't helping me, wasn't close enough knowing me, I wasn't ending the relationship myself. It just ended because they defined it as not knowing me so close, and just like that I'm like, okay, c'est fini, whatever, and it all ended. And I stayed 10 good months with the bank. No, 8 good months with the bank without a salary. I wasn't being paid, and then I thought to myself, Jindo, I told you this was never gonna work. You are not just homeless any other month, but you're owing rent every other month. You're in debt. Your debt is growing. You have loans with the bank. You have loans with individuals. Like, you're just in debt completely. And I was like, man, I was working so hard for the bank because I'm an employee, but I'm not getting paid because I've not fulfilled a part of my a part of my you know my offer letter, which was to have guarantors. So the policy is to fulfill that part of your offer letter and then you'll be paid. So in essence, or in their terms, they were even doing me a favor, having me still be in the bank, having my salary accumulate, because of course it was accumulating, but I was not receiving anything until I fulfilled that part of the deal, that part of my own regulation, and then I'll be paid in lump sum. That was how it worked. So in their terms, they were doing me that huge favor of still having me in the bank and then accumulating my money, but I wasn't receiving anything. I was always begging, constantly asking my family for help, and they were not even turning up. Only my twin brother was helping me at the time, and then I had a boyfriend who was also help supporting me then in the way he knew how to, or they knew how to. So I wasn't paid for 8 months, and then after I was paid, I received my first 3 million naira ever in millions. So I received 3 million. That was the accumulation of my salary for 8 months. That was how much I was paid then. So, and then a few months after that, I fell into depression. Yeah, because I have stayed 8 months suffering without a salary, understanding that I probably never needed a salary to live my life. I probably should have just went with the flow of my life and understood what homelessness would have taught me, and just enjoyed the ride of growing through that part of life. But I resisted it and went into something even worse. And now, after being paid in millions, I am now in depression. I fell into depression in November of 2023. That was my very first depression. I'll call it my very first because it was rock bottom. I was making money as a 9 to 5er. I thought I was happy as a 9 to 5er. I thought I was happy with a software engineering job. I thought everything was perfect for me. But when I thought the reality of my life at the time was just being single, doing things by myself as a young girl. I was only 23, 24, and I was having to hustle this hard every single day, grind, and wait for a very little amount of money at the end of 30 days. It didn't sit well with me. Yeah, I was comfortable in a way, but I wasn't satisfied. So much of me didn't want that job. So much of me wanted something different. So much of me wanted to express itself. So much of me just wanted to love, to live, to enjoy, to laugh, to travel. I wanted to travel because back in the day, when I was doing my network marketing business from the age of 16 through 20, 16, no, from the age of 16 through 20, yeah, I was traveling. I was traveling the north. I traveled Maiduguri, I traveled Gombe, I traveled Bauchi, I traveled Adamawa, I traveled Taraba, I traveled Kaduna, I traveled Jos, I traveled almost everywhere in the north. I traveled Yobe. I had experience of every single culture in the north because I wanted it. I wanted to travel. I wanted to experience people. I wanted to experience different cultures because in Nigeria, you have that in bounty. That is what makes us special. Diversity in cultures, in people, in location. It is beautiful. The diversity in this country is much more than anybody thought it is, think it is. So I was experiencing life traveling every single month, every single week. I am probably in a new state, and I liked it because I was experiencing people, understanding life a little better. I was growing out of naivety into something more matured, I thought. But in this phase of my life with a 9 to 5, it was different. It was me constantly doing the same thing over and over again. Every single day I was clocking in. Every single day I was doing the same project. Every single day I was working on the same thing. Doing a software engineering job for me was the fact that I had to explore a different part of my mind. I had to explore a different part of my mindset. I have to create something from creative thinking. That was the idea for me of coding, of programming, was I was gonna create something out of thinking, out of you know problem solving, thoughts, and all of that. But with working with the bank, with 9 to 5, it's different. You don't get to create something for yourself. You don't get to even do anything. You get to work on the same project someone has worked on every single day, trying to fix bugs, trying to do something different with the same thing. You're going nowhere, and you have less time for yourself. Of course, we have the courses to learn from, we have paid courses we have to learn from, but how much time do you have to work your 9 to 5, take time for yourself to rest, to reset, and then learn? There was no time. Absolutely. And for me, at that time, I love doing my yoga, I love doing my meditations, but with my new job, I didn't have that much time to even do this. But that wasn't gonna stop me, because yoga is one thing I know that I have to do every single morning before anything else follows. Because I know I'm doing myself that favor by having my body work itself out before I go through the day. If not, I'm gonna burn out. I'm gonna burn into dust if I don't do anything like exercise, work out my body. I'm gonna think myself to death. So that wasn't working out for me, and in November of 2023 I fell into depression. And there's one thought I've always thought of growing up, like maturing into adult. I've always thought of, how about I take like few months off grade, and reset. What would it be like to have few months off the grid, without internet, without technology, without nobody? Just experience that. That has always been like scary to me. That has always been like a no-go thought to me. That was never an option until I fell into great depression. So what I never wanted to think as an option was suicide. I never wanted suicide to be my option, because I was dead tired of everything. I was dead tired of life. I had money in my account, but I'm like, if I touch this money, it's over. So that was the limiting belief and pattern I was living in. I was living in trying to save that little to eat, to not beg, and to also try to maintain my debt level, even though my debt was increasing in so many ways. So I fell into depression. I broke down in tears in my office one night because I was working through the night, because I have to work for tomorrow morning, so I have my time to work out. That was how I was doing it. I had so much to do that I was even doing nothing. At the end of the day, I wasn't productive, and I would just go to the office doing the same thing, seeing the same people. Like, it was daunting to me. Life was over for me. I felt through depression, and when I researched it, it was called burnout. It was like complete burnout. It was no different from depression, literally. So this thought of traveling off grid that has always been a daunting, a no option thing for me now became an option because I didn't have anything to think about. Technology was killing me, my phone was killing me, everything was killing me. Anything I think of was killing me. My boyfriend was killing me because I thought he wasn't giving me enough money. You know, my job was killing me because I thought it was this slave trade thing I have to do. I have to slave through every single day doing the same thing and never knowing myself. I was completely gone mentally. So the only option I had was going off grid. When I thought about it, it felt good to me. I'm like, oh, why haven't I thought of going off grid? Why haven't I thought of leaving the city and going to the village? Why am I just thinking? But that was the only thing that felt good to me at the time. And then trust me, I planned the next 2 weeks at the time traveling, wanting to leave Lagos with nobody knowing, without my boss being aware. My boss wasn't aware I traveled out of Lagos, and my plan was to leave Lagos completely for a year. I wanted to leave Lagos completely for a year. That was how mentally drained and burned out I was. I wanted to leave technology for a year. I wanted to leave my phone for a year, not talk to anybody for a year. And then I went back to Imo State. I didn't went back to Imo State. I've never been to Imo State and stayed more than 1 week. The last time I traveled to Imo State was for my sister's wedding, and that was how long I stayed, 4 days. I have never stayed in that state longer than 4 days before. Longer, no. Even when I was little, that my mom took us traveling for the first time when we were little, we didn't even stay up to 1 week. Or we stayed 1 week, but no longer than that. When I was like a kid, like I was less than 5 years old, you know. So the next time I was going to go see that state was in my sister's wedding. So I literally don't know Imo State. So I thought of, I have a family home in Imo State. Why not I just go there? There's nobody there. It's locked probably for 2 years before anybody comes back to open the door. So why not I just go off grid for just this 1 year, stay there, reset myself, train myself out of this depression I have fallen into, help me help myself get out of there, because I know time heals and life heals, and that was the only thing I was banking on. Time. I was banking on time to heal me from this depression, and I wanted to experience life off grid. Yeah, so I went, I stayed there. I was working on a project while I was there. I was still working with my job because I needed a source of income. At this point, that was the only thing I had in my life. So depression or no depression, what was I gonna survive with? This job. That was what I thought. So I went, I stayed indoors, off grid, with nobody, no neighbor contacts. The only neighbors I had was probably if I'm leaving the house to the office, because I do that once a month. I'll leave the house to the office once a month just to activate my account, so I don't get blocked or I don't get flagged for not being in the office, because I don't want my boss to know that I'm not even in the office. I'm not in Lagos. So I planned all these things and I left. Sorry, I'm shaking. My apartment is a bit too cold. I'll get it down and I'll be back. Sorry. I love cold, but at some point it's just too cold for me to even love. So I went off grid and I was doing this and I was recovering. At that point, after a few months of staying alone, I think the universe just wanted to give me an experience of a companion, and because I've always loved to have pets, to always want to have pets, one day I didn't know how. I prayed that I get a pet that I don't have to force to get, to just get a pet that was meant to be for me. It was meant to, be my companion. So at that time, one day I went out to get a few groceries from the roadside because I don't go too far from where I'm staying. I live in a very enclosed home. It's fenced, barricaded, everything. So I'm just the only person in my compound, in my house. I went out to get this grocery, and then I saw a very small dog. At the time, they said it was just about 5 days old. Honestly, at the time they said it was 2 weeks old. I can't remember now. But then this dog was completely lost. It was 2 weeks old. It was still a newborn, literally. And they were just looking at it there. It was crying for help. The thing that attracted me to this dog was the cry. He was crying, and I felt so much compassion for this dog. I felt so much pity for this dog. I'm like, you guys should help this dog, give it a bath, because it was so dirty, lice all over it, eating it up. It was so small, it was beautiful, it was so dirty, and it was crying so much for help. And I looked and I said, who owns that dog? They said, well, they don't know who owns it, that a kid just saved it from being killed from the road. I was so shocked. I'm like, okay, how are you gonna do it? Why not help this dog? And then the person that was like saving it said, oh well, I would have helped the dog, but I have lots of kids to cater for. She had lots of little kids that of course she was paying more attention to, and then she can't pay attention to this new little baby dog. And I'm like, okay, can you give it to me? And she was so happy. She said, yes, you can have it if you want. If you want it, if you can take care of it. I'm like, yeah, I want to take care of it. I was so happy to take this dog, and immediately she said I could have it. Right then and there, I started treating this dog because I had so much compassion for this little baby dog that I'm like, I don't want it to die. This dog was filled with lies. It was crying for help. It was dying. You could tell that this little baby dog was in complete pain. So I started treating it. I gave some guy money. I don't know this guy, but he runs errands for me sometimes. So I gave him money to go somewhere where he said there was a veterinary close to get me like something to spray the lice. And then he went and got some over-the-counter stuff for dogs that I could kill the lice with, because I'm taking it to my home, and my home is pretty clean, and I don't want anything to affect my health too. So I had to cater for this dog, clean the dog. This was what traveling did for me. This was what going off the grid did for me. I didn't go off the grid because I thought that was a greener pasture. No, I thought I wanted to heal myself going off the grid. I thought I wanted to heal myself traveling to a different state to experience life there for just this particular period of time. I had a goal to do, because where I wasn't serving my good anymore. I didn't see it as serving my good anymore. So I needed a change of scene. I needed no contact. I made the decision, and this was the experiences, the synchronicities that I met. The next one was with a dog. I treated this dog outside the home and then took it home. And I couldn't wait because it was Saturday. No, I got it on a Friday and I couldn't wait on a Sunday. I took this dog to town. And trust me, town was 45 minutes from my house. So we had to travel 45 minutes to town to the veterinary hospital or clinic. Yeah, call it a clinic because it's not a hospital, it's a clinic, well known in Owerri. Yeah, I've forgotten the name of the veterinary clinic. I would have mentioned it, but they were so good. They helped my dog. They injected it its first injection, its first vaccine. Yeah, they gave it its medication, and I bought the food, treated this dog. I was so happy to bring this dog back home. The dog was well, it was so happy, it was looking healthy, it was no longer crying anymore in pain. Like, this dog has not even started barking yet. The first bark was with me, so all the cry was mainly for help. So I was so glad I was there to help this dog, and this dog helped me. It was my partner, it was my companion for the rest of the month I did in Imo State. I took care of this dog. Most of my funds, my salary, I was saving to pay part of my debt, and I was also saving for this dog. But I was so comfortable with the dog. I was healing tremendously fast. You know, I was healing so fast, and with this dog, I had somebody to talk to, or I had something to talk to. I had something to learn from, to grow with, and it was happening so fast. And 6 months later, I was escalated in my office. I was called. I'm like, they escalated me through a mail because I was working on a project, remember? And I mentioned it earlier in the video. And I traveled with nobody's consent. So their thought was probably the fact that I'm in Lagos, but I wasn't. I was trying to save my life, and which I did by traveling, you know. And traveling doesn't have to be far from your country or thousands of miles away for you to know you've traveled. Just leaving the space you are in and going somewhere, because it's going to ease your growth, it's going to add to your experiences, it's going to help you expand in many ways, is what traveling is made for. I came back to Lagos with the dog, but it became a lot more tedious with the dog, because right now I am back to Lagos 6 months later. I feel a lot better. I feel ready to work. I feel energized. In fact, I've never felt this energized for work before. I was ready to create, to do new things, to work new projects, to do so much more. But with this dog, it was going to be a lot more tedious because I don't have time now for the dog anymore. And it was time for me to release the dog, but I was so emotionally attached to this dog that I didn't want it to leave me, you know? I'm like, yeah, everybody comes and goes. Why does my dog have to come and go? I started crying. It's so emotional. I'm feeling emotional right now because yeah. I said, why does my dog have to come and go? But it was time for the dog to leave me. But I didn't understand that part. So I kept changing apartments because any apartment I went to, the dog was disturbing when I'm away, when I'm in the office. The dog wants to say it's mama. It doesn't want to stay in the cage, doesn't want to be caged for the whole for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours. The dog wants to, wants to do its party, wants to do swimming, wants to move around, but no way. And this dog, is so trained by me that it doesn't mess up its space. It doesn't like dirty. Just like me, it wouldn't do any potty anywhere anyhow. It does potty where you want it to do a potty. So if you keep it in a place for it to stay, it wouldn't mess up the place. It will be so pressed, it will be so pressed that it will hold itself regardless. And the only way for it to let itself go is cry the whole house down, and it will cry the neighbor out, disturb them while I'm away. So that was becoming so difficult for me and the dog, because the dog started getting so much emotional trauma, which I wouldn't like for anything or anybody. I was away and far from this dog, and the dog needs me to leave. But now the time to having the dog was over, I thought, and then I had to give the dog away after changing 2 apartments for this dog, and they didn't want the dog because it was disturbing. I let the dog go, and I invested so much in this dog. This dog was my pet. It was living its best life. Its medications, its feeding, everything was a fortune, cost a fortune. If you have a pet that is not a stray pet, or that you have as a pet, you know how much you spend for medical bills. And mine was like literally every 2 weeks. I was taking this dog to Critas in Lekki. Critas is a veterinary hospital that, I took it a few times there. It has its cart there, and man, this dog took most of my financial, most of my income. And I didn't feel it when I had the dog. I didn't feel like I was investing so much. I just feel like this is my pet, and if I'm investing so much in myself, I should invest so much in my pet. And that was ongoing until this pet left me. I felt the void financially, physically, and emotionally. Yes. And that was it. My depression was healed, but wait a minute, not for so long. My story still continues. So, after the dog left, 2 months after this dog is away from me, I started feeling that symptom of burnout again. I was like, whoa, I was so scared because I knew what this depression felt like, and I don't want it anymore in my life. I did so much to heal from it. I traveled all the way to the east, off the grid, alone. I spent so much in living expenses alone, no partner, nobody to help me, alone, in debt, in everything. The thought of this depression was already depressing, and I was feeling the symptoms of burnout again, and I was so scared. I was looking for every possible help I could get. At this point, anything I saw, I just wanted it to help me not feel depressed again. So I was doing everything I could. I was thinking, should I resign my job? I was thinking of resigning because I didn't want this depression anymore. It didn't feel good when it happened, and it was caused by this job. And after healing myself and coming back, feeling relieved and new again, a newborn in a new state again, after a few months, I'm feeling these symptoms. Please, I don't want to go back to this depression. But the deed has been done, babe. You either fall into depression or you resign this job. How would I resign the job? That was my only source of income, I thought. So I started looking for ways to help myself. So many things happened. I met somebody who was thinking beyond me. They live by spiritual manipulation, to manipulate spiritual powers, to make money, to live. All these people that do juju, voodoo, blah blah blah. I met somebody like that who was advising me to do voodoo to make money and live my life. That was new to me. I'm like, I know people who do voodoo, but I've never paid attention to them, their lifestyle, whatever, because I'm comfortable with living my life with no problems and just growing through my own life experiences, knowing that life, regardless of whatever you're facing, is meant to empower you. Yeah, that's the duality of what you live. Life is meant to be oneness, but if you experience duality, then you should grow from both ends. Negative should be empowering to you as much as the positive empowers you. But that didn't happen. With this new person I met, there was a lot of chaos for me because I wanted every means to get out of this symptom. I started feeling the symptom of depression now. I didn't want to go into depression anymore, and then I met this person who was trying to teach me to go into manipulating powers to get money from men and blah blah blah, which it didn't last long. The relationship and whatever I was being taught at the time didn't last long because one thing I'm always gonna do is ride with my intuition. Intuition has always led me ever since I was a kid, so I live by my intuition. So I don't live practically by societal norm or by societal influence or peer influence. No, intuition has always led me right from when I was a kid. So if intuition guided me as a kid, intuition can also guide me as an adult because now I'm much more matured intuitively than ever, and then that ended, and once I got my pay in the same November that I faced a depression in 2023 was the same November I'm facing depression again. 1 year difference. I'm like, this is the time to resign, this is the time to quit my job. But I didn't have the courage to quit because if I quit now, that was even worse. What would I do? Beg in the street? Prostitute, which was never gonna be an option. I cannot. I hold my body in such high standards that is never an option to me. Yeah, of course, I have my boyfriends to take care of me, to fend for me, but to go out and sell cat for money, my own cat, it's never gonna happen. That is gold to me. Okay, I take so much care of myself, invest so much in myself that I can't do that. That is demeaning to me. That is a downgrade to me. So the best way for me to do things now is to still keep my job and think of something else to do, because going off the grid now doesn't feel right to me. That was intense. Okay, 6 months alone off the grid, alone, nobody. I loved it. It was good, but it was as good as helping you for the time in there to help you. Anytime past that time for me, I know it was going to be something else. It was going to be downgrading, because when you stay off the grid for so long, it was meant to help you, but you can't stay without people, without a community for so long. You won't grow as a human being. Sometimes once in a while you need to go off the grid, help yourself breathe, help yourself learn to sink in all these experiences, but you need to come back out to continue your journey as a human fucking being. So the thought I had in November last year was to run away from Nigeria. Okay, so this was how it happened, because I thought I was traveling earlier, blah blah blah, in my life. Now that I have a job, I can't even travel because I don't have money to travel. And then when I used to travel, I was so open-minded. It was just from one state to another, different states, sometimes 3 hours, 6 hour differences. I was acing it, sometimes 7 hour, 8 hours difference. I was still acing it because I had the funds to back up these travels. Even though the funds weren't enough, I had the mindset to back up these travels. I was traveling, and sometimes I get lifts on the road. It was safe. I thought it was safer for me then because I didn't know anything much about insecurity, so nothing was gonna bug me about insecurity at the time. But now I need funds to travel, baby. And if I need to travel and travel out of the country, that was what I thought to myself last year of November. And I thought I need to run away from this dead country. I thought my country I grew in, that has helped me grow to this level of maturity, was not adding anything to me. It was killing me financially, and as a youth I thought that was what I thought, because I was going through a lot, thinking too much, overthinking was the case. So I thought of running away from the country, and yeah, running to Ghana. And if you don't know, Ghana is a West African state in Africa, and it is literally neighbor with Nigeria. Literally, if you're traveling by road, it takes you 12 hours or 24 hours. Sometimes if you're traveling by road, it takes you 24 hours or less. If you're traveling by air, it just takes you an hour, the same amount of time it takes you to travel anywhere from Lagos within Nigeria. Okay, so in November I got my pay. I got so much paid, as bonuses from my job, and I planned to run away and live a new life in Ghana, experience what life is about there, what life can be, what I can be for myself, and hopefully quit my job at the end of the year last year. That was what I thought, and yeah, I made it happen. I gave out everything I needed to give out because I was now in my head relocating to Ghana. I gave out everything I needed to give out. I packed my bags and I traveled by road to Ghana. The road trip was not as stressful. It was good, given that it's a road trip. I traveled with GIG, this transport company. So yeah, if I ever told you I traveled to Ghana by air, sorry, I lied, just to feel comfortable, because to me, to this day, I thought that trip was a little embarrassing, but also an eye-opener for me, because with that trip I realized the big thing about traveling, and I realized that you don't need to live where you are for some. So continuing my podcast, so I thought for me I was traveling to somewhere seemingly better, relocating, finding a new path for myself, trying to figure out what's wrong with me, why I feel so burned out and depressed, and just trying to heal. I decided to run to Ghana, and I did run to Ghana. and stayed in the best environment there, because wherever I travel to, I just want to experience the best environment there. And for me at the time where I stayed in Ghana was called East Cantonment. Was called East Cantonment. So I stayed in East Cantonment, had the most luxurious stay in Eastonment Hotel there, and also, I was cafe hopping, and going to restaurants that were nice in East Cantonment. I experienced a whole lot of bliss, and in 3 days of staying there, I met a guy. I manifested a partner. I wanted a guy to travel with, to experience life with, and then I met this guy on Bumble app, and he came, picked me up, and then we started traveling around Ghana. We traveled 8 regions of Ghana. I enjoyed my trip. I paid nothing to this guy. We were just enjoying our travels. We traveled for surfing, so many things. And while we were traveling, at the point, I was still, working, doing my job, but also giving excuses to my boss that I needed a time away, that he should give me some time away to, for the end of the year, for I wanted kind of I said I wanted kind of a leave, which he did, gave it to me, but he didn't understand why I did that. I did that because, number one, I wanted to quit my job. Number two, I was so tired, I needed to figure out myself. And number three, because I was out of the country, I needed to enjoy myself at the same time. So I was traveling with this guy, living life, but some part of me was still not awakened to this fact that, babe, you are traveling. At least you're having an experience. Why not just enjoy this experience? You're going surfing, you're traveling with this person, having different experiences in different regions of Ghana. By the way, Ghana has only 8 regions or 7 regions. You know, Nigeria has 36 states. So that's the difference. Ghana has 8 regions. We went to Cape Coast, Takoradi, went to so many, Tema. I can't even list them because I've forgotten. But we went to so many places having fun. We went to Buswa Beach. Buswa Beach is like after Takoradi, there's a whole different trip. Buswa Beach, that was where we did surfing, and at that place with my chess board, I and this guy were playing chess after dinner. We were living life. This was the life I've always wanted to live, with just a life of bliss, peace, fun, just a life of flexibility and growth and fun. Every moment just be joy and bliss. And I was experiencing it right now with this person. This guy was also a working class guy. He just started his career just 6 months earlier, and yeah, he was just trying to be financially, disciplined with me too. So I was saving my money. I was saving my money that I brought to Ghana, because I saved all my money, took road trip to Ghana because I needed to save a lot of money for me to settle down in Ghana and start a life there. But with this guy, experiencing life with him, things changed. The whole idea changed. I reflected to myself. After I and this guy had a chat, and we did really had a very solemn chat, and he told me, I would really advise you to go back to Nigeria and save up your salary. The more he kept emphasizing my salary, it annoyed me because I'm trying to run away from my job, sir. I'm not wanting to go back because if you keep thinking about your salary, you would never quit your job and you would just be suffering. If you keep thinking about that comfort zone, you will never leave it. If you keep thinking about that form of comfort you have, you cannot go far. So just understand that this form of comfort is a thing that can die anytime, any day, with or without you, because it was existing before you, it will exist before you. Let go of this form of comfort and just let time and let God lead you to something new and beautiful. So after this chat him and I had, I thought to myself, this might just be a whole new big project for me to start, to do, settling down here, having a new life here. It's beautiful already. I'm manifesting these things. This guy that is even advising me to go back to Nigeria, I manifested him. I wanted him and he came. Like I prayed for him, that's what I mean. I wished for him, and within 3 days he came, paid my bills, and here we are traveling, and here you are advising me to go back to a job you think is my only source of income and that will help me live the life I think I want to live, which it is not doing. It is only giving me depression and burnout every single month. I was tired, I was exhausted, I was dying inside. So this trip was all I needed to know that you don't need greener pastures, baby. You just need to reset your goals, figure out what you want, and start where you are. Where you are is healing. I had to come back to Nigeria when the whole trip was done, when his holiday was over. He needed to go back to Germany for his job, and if he left me, I didn't have anybody there. I was so scared. I'm like, instead of starting a new life here, which was gonna be a little difficult, but it was gonna be worthy over the time, probably. But in my head, I'm like, it's better the devil I know than the angel I don't know. I better go back to my country and suffer the sufferness, because my country, I'm used to it. I'm used to the people there. Ghanaians are lovely. Ghanaians are the most beautiful humans you would ever come across, or I have ever come across. They are humble, they are welcoming, they are simple, they are easygoing. They don't care. They don't care as in they mind their business, their lives, and they are willing to help. They are open-minded. Unlike Nigerians. Probably Nigerians are good, beautiful people, but Ghanaians are very sweet, open-minded people. Nobody's thinking of you taking advantage of him. Everybody feels safe with anybody. Nobody is stealing anything from you, begging anything from you, taking advantage of you. No, everybody is just taking care of themselves and minding their lives. That's Ghanaians. I enjoyed these people. I loved it. I love our trips. I was so scared that it was coming to an end, but it had to come to an end. It came to an end, and I gathered all the money I've saved and came back with the same money I took to Ghana. said, okay, whatever life has for me, quitting this job seems to have no no time for me, because I don't know when to quit. I don't know how to quit, so I'm probably in this job whatever time it takes. So I came back, I started a new life here, got a hotel, stayed, I was doing my things. Now, the point of this whole video is to let you know that life can be what you want it to be wherever you are. Traveling is supposed to upgrade your experiences in a sense that you are perceiving life in a different lens. That is what traveling is. Traveling is like having different glasses. But you see with these glasses, it's just that the shades are probably different, the colors are different, they fit you in different ways. That is traveling. It's seeing life in a different lens from a different place. But in truth, that place is no different from where you just left, because you're living as the same person. And the same person who is perceiving life from whatever perspective you're perceiving life from here is the same person who is going to perceive life with the same perspective over there. So it's the same place. That is why you go and be like, oh, it's no greener pasture. That thing I was seeking in the distance was right in front of me, was right underneath my chin, and I was seeking it in the distance when it's right under my nose. You see? Because traveling isn't meant for you to run away. You're not meant to run away to somewhere, to run away for vacation, to run away for whatever. Enjoy where you are. Your home can be your vacation. Where you are can be the best life you're living, can be bliss, can be joy. I've been traveling since I was 16, not far around the world, even though it's around the world, because it's not in the same place I'm traveling to. I'm traveling within Nigeria. I've traveled far within Nigeria, but I've learned a lot. I was learning, I was growing for sure. But then I needed the experience. That was why it happened. It was nothing I needed to force. It was just an excitement I was trying to, enjoy. I had the excitement of traveling within Nigeria, meeting the Fulanis, understanding what they are like, having to experience life in many ways, in different cultures, different foods, all that beautiful jazz you gain without you having to force anything. I was experiencing it. Forms of traveling was no problem for me because I didn't have to force it. I didn't have to run from anything. I wasn't traveling out of desperation. I was traveling out of the fact that time brought that experience to me effortlessly. So it was a thing of enjoyment. It was a thing of growth. It was a thing of experience. It wasn't a thing of desperation. It wasn't a thing of resistance. It wasn't a struggle because it was the experience I had then. If your traveling experience is something that is meant to be, you wouldn't have to struggle for it. You wouldn't have to work so hard for the money. No. You wouldn't have to strive so hard. You wouldn't have to beg. You wouldn't have to loan money to travel. Why? Why do you have to beg for money to travel? Why do you have to loan money to travel? When you can just enjoy where you are now, grow from what this moment, this phase of your life is trying to teach you. And then when it's time for you to travel, it's time for you to travel. The money is there, The people are there, the experiences are there, everything is there to empower you. My Dubai experience is the best travel experience I had. After I learned my lesson with Ghana, I had fun, I had the best time, but I learned that who you are, where you are, is still the same person you're gonna be where you're going. Except you learn to grow with wherever you're coming from. Learn to grow there. Learn to love that place. Learn to feel comfortable there. Learn how to unwind there. Learn how to heal there. Then you can heal anywhere else. If you cannot grow from where you're coming from, you cannot grow where you're going. You will just be randomly living life in confusion anywhere else you go. And that place you're traveling to or going to will not be as an experience as such. You won't enjoy it. It will just be like, oh, it happened, it came and passed, I was there, blah, blah, blah. But you didn't gain the essence of what that place was supposed to give you if you were meant to go there. And if you were meant to go there, it wouldn't be with so much effort. It wouldn't be with so much stress. My traveling experience traveling from Nigeria to Dubai and coming back was effortless, blissful, luxurious, wonderful. It was perfection, and it was the most. It wasn't beans, it wasn't cheap, and it was effortless. The money was there, everything was there, the experience was there, the people was there, the love was there, the memory was there. Because I learned that traveling is making peace with where you are. Sometimes all your life you don't even need to travel, because everything you need to travel for exists where you are. The luxury, the enjoyment, the life is wherever you are. Right now, the life I live is a vacation, is a bliss. My home is a vacation. My home is a dream apartment. I live in a dream apartment. Every day of my life is beautiful, is magical, is new. Is absolutely amazing, because this is the life I have always wanted. So imagine I tell you I want to go for vacation. What is this? I live a vacation. The meal I eat, the food, everything I do, my workout routines, my daily disciplinary routines are my dream life. And I've been living this for years. It just happened that the apartment I have always wanted, so the beige, it comes with gray interiors. You can see just a mini, by the way. The whole thing, the white apartment, everything was in writing. I wrote it down. This is what I want in my apartment. This is the kind of apartment I want to live in. This is the kind of owner I want to have as a landlord. This is blah 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 blah, and everything was what I manifested. Pure divine bliss. It's magical what you can gain from understanding that life flows as you want, as you make it. Traveling is nothing more than looking at life from a different lens, okay? From a different glasses. You can have 10 glasses that are different colors, but you still see through them. That is what traveling is. Traveling is no different from where you are. Whether you are in Monaco or you're in Banana Island, you're still enjoying the same luxury, the same person that you're creating. You can be in Monaco and be the most miserable person ever, because you traveled to that place as a miserable person, as a confused person. It wasn't meant to be. You went there and you ended up not liking it. You ended up not gaining the essence of Monaco. You ended up not even seeing the luxury that Monaco has to offer. That's because it is not perfect timing. Travel in time. When you travel in time, there is something for you to gain. There is growth and expansion for you to gain. There is life for you to savor. You can also do that wherever you are. It's not by force. Don't listen to people when they tell you when you travel, you're living the next pages of life. Life is no pages. Life is a beautiful play right now, right here, right this moment. Enjoy it wherever you are. Know that wherever phase you are is where you're meant to be. Don't make 10 million naira and all you want to do is run away from where you are. Where you are is the best place. Nigeria has given me what so many countries probably wouldn't have given me. Nigeria has given me what probably running and looking for something outside for the sake of a greener pasture wouldn't have provided me, because I learned through my experiences. I understand that life is happening for me, not to me, not against me. It is happening for my greatest good, in my very own favor. You need to understand this. You need to understand that traveling is not meant to be running away from your home. In fact, when you travel, you should be missing your home. I went to Abuja last month. Honestly, I did 5 days, 6 days in Abuja, and I was already missing my home. I'm gonna come back home. I love my home so much. You shouldn't be vacationing outside your life. Your life should be pure vacation. Your life should be pure bliss. There should be nothing stopping you from living your best life right now where you are. What are you going to do outside Nigeria? Think about it yourself. I had to come back. I'm like, Nigeria is favoring me. I know Nigeria more than I know this new place. That thing, I'm gonna settle down in Ghana and start trying to figure out the place. I've already figured out Nigeria. Let me go back and see what this beautiful country has in store for me. And it gave it to me a few months after I came back, just 2 months after I came back. I met the love of my life. I met the man who changed my life forever, got me my dream apartment, got me out of debts. You know, all of those beautiful things that are happening. And my physical experience turned around for good. You know, life is just you recognizing growth every single moment of your life. Yeah, I think this video is the longest I have made, with so many pauses, because my phone died and I had to come charge it here, and then I left my filming location, which is right over there, and it's good. I feel great today. I might make a video later today or tomorrow. I don't know for sure what to do later, so let me know what you want to know. Let me know how this video has helped you, and comment down below for me what you want me to talk about, because in this channel we talk beyond reasoning. Okay, share this video to whoever you think it resonates with, and to whoever you think it's gonna help, and let's spread the good news. Tell me what you want to hear. Connect me to somebody you think you want to get a podcast from with me. You know, anybody that you think would make a good guest here. I'll be so happy to host the person on my podcast and talk about anything that is very empowering to you guys, and beyond reasoning, of course. And let's see how things goes. And for now, make sure your life is a vacation. Your life is a vacation, whether you like it or not. It is trying to teach you, to train you on something. Just be quiet and know Be quiet and know, don't fight it. Ask yourself what this thing is trying to let you know. Take responsibility of your life. Do not blame nobody. Don't blame anything outside of yourself. Don't blame anything like God outside of yourself. Don't blame your pastor. Don't blame anybody. Ask yourself what you need to learn from this experience and grow further and further, because you're meant to keep growing. Life is a constant evolution. Just let me know, subscribe to my channel and share my content for whoever it's gonna help. And until we see you again, until later, or whenever I intend to come make a new video based on intuitive lead, tutors, peace and love and light from Jindu. Thank you so much for listening to me. It's been a wonderful time with you and a pleasure to talk. Bye.